And we're back. So, the two capacitors we're going to focus on today is this one here. This is the output capacitor, also known as C4. I'm also going to change this one, C1. C1 is the input capacitor for this switch mode regulator, and this is the output capacitor. Now, the output capacitor is the most important, but I like to make sure that there is plenty of power right next to a switch mode. In that way, it can deliver what it needs. It will stabilize it even more, and more stability is always better. So you may ask, how do you get these off your board? Well, that's actually pretty simple. Take it and you start twisting it in your fingers back and forth, nice and easy. Don't overdo it, don't stress it, just relax, and there you go. The pins underneath snap off and you can pull it right off. Now this one is going to be a little difficult for me to get into, so I will find a pair of pliers. Stand by 2 seconds. If I could remember where I put my pliers, that would also be awesome. But for some reason right now, I cannot figure out where I put them. There they are. Okay. So this one, I'm gonna go in here, take the pliers, do the same application, wiggle it back and forth, as you see me doing here. Wiggle it a bit more in frame, like that. Back and forth, one snap there, that goes the second one. Okay, then you might ask, well, how do we clean it up? Well, take a soldering iron. You put the soldering iron on here. I have a very fine tip on this one. I might need to switch it out for something bigger, but let's see. Let's turn it up a little bit. And let's get some solder out so we can get this Chinese crap out of the way. So by doing this back and forth, we'll then get the pad cleaned out. The little tap that was there from the capacitor is now gone. And the reason I'm changing out this stuff is that the Chinese is supposed to use, and we don't know what kind of solder type they used, but they are supposed to use lead-free. It's not sure that they did, but they're supposed to. So, we'll grab a bit of solder wick. For those of you who doesn't know what solder wick is, you should probably not be doing this as well. This is a piece of copper that has some flux on it, and it is designed that you put it on here and then heat the whole thing up. There's a massive ground plane here, so this might take some time. Come on. There we go. And then you suck up the excess solder. So, let's see if we can get this one. Flows a little faster because that is not connected to a big ass plane. Well, it is actually, but... And then my tip is kind of small for this. So I might have to change that out. I think I'm going to change the tip out. So hang on 2 seconds, guys, while I change out the tip. Let's see. Can I get a little bit more heat into this? Some fresh solder. Wipe off. There we go. Now this should be able to melt this relatively easy. Yep, much better. Thermal mass, nebulized physics. Physics, guys. I'm going to do the same on this pin here. It's going to be a little difficult for me to do because the angle is all wrong, so you guys can see what I'm doing. But you see that pin right there? On And the tip, let's see if we can focus. Yeah, you see that little tip? That's the one we want off. I'm going to turn it around a little bit so I can actually work here. Let's get the last one off. Again, I am not responsible for how you do it or if you damage your board doing this. This is how I do it. Just take your time. It is not, you know, a race or anything. Take your time doing board repairs and take it nice and slow. So, almost there. Almost ready. So, now that it is semi cleaned up, I'm gonna pre-tin this pad and I'm gonna pre-tin this pad like that. So, now I'm gonna take my capacitors. These are Panasonic capacitors, if I remember correctly. But there will be a link below. I don't remember if I ordered Panasonic or Nichicon. But again, a link will be below. And as you can see, if I hold these two up together like this, you can see the new one is much taller. It has a lower voltage rating. This one is 35 volts. This is only 16 volts. But you're not going to have a problem. It's a 5-volt output, so that's not going to be a problem. Your input is a 12-volt input, preferably. Some of you might have turned up your PSU, but you shouldn't go higher than 14 volts anyway, so the capacitor will be able to handle it. Now, to solder this thing on, I'm going to use a pair of tweezers so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to get in here, the soldering iron, put this one down so it lines up with both pads on both sides. This is kind of difficult due to the fact that I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Now it's on, almost. It's not quite on. It's not on the way I want it to be on, so hang on, guys. I don't get how YouTubers can do this with the camera all day. I'm used to having a microscope, which doesn't, you know, nobody's supposed to see it, what it looks like afterwards. And then on the other side, I simply solder it on. Like that. Pretty it is not. But I can come back and fix it later. There we go. So, to say that this is soldered in pretty, that would be a lie. But nevertheless, it is in there, it is on, and it has the same profile. Now I have to do the same for the other one. And the good thing about soldering these on, you can't really put them on wrong. You see how the solder or the silk screen indicates, you know, that 45 degree here and here. And if you look at the capacitor, there we go, it has a 45 degree angle here and here, so that's the way it's supposed to go in. Now again, I'm probably not going to show you how to solder it in because it's quite difficult to do with the camera in the way and making sure that you guys can see what I'm doing at the same time. Why am I unable to get this one down? What the hell? 1 second, guys. I'm hitting. There we go. Come on. That's in there. Now I gotta solder way in here. Come on, focus camera. There we go. Down there, I need to solder. So, if you guys will excuse me a bit, I will solder it in. There we go. Nice and clean. And the other side, just a little tap up, like that. So, there we go. It's in. Now it's time to reassemble the whole thing and see if the temperature holds up stable. Back in a bit.